What up, YouTube Elleix? Coming back at you with another StarCraft 2 alternate universe cast. We have a bit of a monster today. It's going to be a best of 7 series featuring the Scion Custom Races mod pack. So, sit back, grab yourselves a cup of coffee, grab yourselves a beer, whatever your choice of beverage is, because we are in for a ride today. Spawning on the top right-hand side of the map, we have our teal Chiron player, our Grandmaster level player, and spawning on the bottom left-hand side of the map, we have our red Genotron player, KOPDSD. Now, if you're not familiar with Kop, he is a former competitive Korean player who I believe was active in 2012 to 2014, I want to say. So, should be a really fun series today. If you are new to my channel, I do cast games from a wide range of leagues, going all the way down from Bronze and up to Masters, with the occasional modded game and the occasional Grandmaster game. So if more casual games are something you're interested in watching, please consider shooting me a subscribe. I'd greatly appreciate it. Now back to the show. Looks like Yu is throwing down an edifice, already throws it down. This is the equivalent of the gateway and sends over an early scout right here, trying to get some harassment, it looks like, on these buildings, but the Genotron basically warping buildings like the Protoss, so this harassment's not going to do a lot of damage, but Yu nonetheless announcing his arrival with this scout right here. Now, this analysis terminal will open up additional tech trees for the Genotron player. So for a second, I thought he was going to go for something cheesy, but no. We see what is going to be another processing core, the equivalent of the command center, being thrown down in the natural base. So Kop going for an expansion right here. Yu almost losing this scout, running for dear life, will escape just barely, it looks like. It is being sent home, but this ACR, the SCV equivalent, right on its tail, literally. Oh man, very, very close call for Yu, but able to save that worker. It will heal. One thing that I noticed is that the converters, not just the converters, this is a converter, it's equivalent of the Pro, but the units for the Chiron seem to regenerate not only shields but also health. They are truly like a hybrid between the Zerg and the Protoss in that sense. And here we go, we have the Bolts. They are the tier 1 units, one of the tier 1 units for the Chiron. One other thing that I think is really interesting about the Chiron is they have a warp-in circumference of about a pylon's worth of distance around their citadel, around the equivalent of their nexus. So one thing that I think is really interesting is there's not really a lot of proxy plays that the Chiron can do unless they throw down a citadel really close to their opponent, and that is a really, really big commitment. I still haven't seen it. I might try that in the future just to see. We have what is going to be a processor getting some scouting information. This is basically a high-speed uncloaked observer. It does come from the processing core. It comes from the mining building of the Genotron, and it is a detector, and it also regenerates energy for the Genotron units. It's a really, really cool utility unit. We have what are going to be blitzers. These are units that come out of the manufacturer. They are a tier 1 unit, but they're a really good unit. They have an ability that increases their speed by 50%, I think, for about 4 seconds. So they are able to chase down retreating units. It is super cool. We have a generator right here. I'm pretty sure this increases the energy cap for the Genotron. Now, the Genotron have a really interesting energy mechanic. They effectively have a power grid. All this blue energy right here is shared power between all the structures. The nodes provide power. They are also like supply depots, and the generators provide additional power. They increase the power cap, the energy cap for the Genotron. So what you would use this energy for is to either increase production time. So there's overclock mode and there's a super overclock mode. Overclock mode increases build time by about 150%, I want to say. Super overclock mode increases build time by 250%, but it is at the cost of energy, and if you run out of that shared energy, production flat out stops. So it's one more thing to micromanage for the Genotron, and I honestly think it's super cool. We do have a push out of blitzers right here, poking the front door and actually doing a ton of damage to these tier 1 units. the Citadel does have a defensive ability right here that not only allows units to mine faster, but allows units to move faster as well. We have a good engagement right here with the Pariahs, able to shade in. They have a kind of a depth sort of ability where they can do a quick shade. I think it lasts about 2 seconds, and they can shade anywhere you want them to, and they can close the distance really well for engagements. But it does look like you lost quite a lot of units there. Taking a look at the resources lost, 750 resources lost at 125. So that was a really good engagement by KOP right there. I'm really getting the Korean feel. I don't know for sure, but what I've been told is the Korean style of play, they play more by feel rather than build orders. Of course, they go for the build order, but they also kind of just feel out the game and play it, which is kind of a fan. I'm kind of a fan of. That's the style that I like to play, but I am only a diamond level player, so I do not have anything to say about the play styles of Grandmaster players. They can play however they want. They will still beat me. Another big engagement right here, it looks like, by the Genotron. These blitzers doing so much damage for a tier 1 unit. I feel like they're clocked pretty intensely. I feel like they're almost a little bit overtuned. It looks like for tier 1 units, they're just destroying the tier 1 units of the Chiron, but this is a lot of blitzers compared to just the army supply of the of the Chiron. Taking a look at the army supply, it's 39 army supply to 19. Big lead for KOP. Taking a look at the workers as well, it's 56 workers to 56. So even economy for both players. Taking a look at the upgrades, 1 attack upgrade for the Genotron. We have 1 attack upgrade, 1 melee attack upgrade for the Chiron players. So pretty even in upgrades as well. We have a couple straggling processors right here. KOP listening to me across time. He's like, oh, thanks, elleixstar. I didn't even know that I lost my processors. And here we go. We have another big push of blitzers right here with a couple fixers. The fixer is effectively the medic for the Genotron. Except the Genotron doesn't need medics because they're all mechanical units. So instead of a medic, we have a fixer. I still feel like this might be a little too much for you to handle right here. This is a lot of blitzers, and this is really not a lot of units for our Chiron player. We do have that warp-in. As we can see, that warp-in with the Pariahs is super fast, but they are a bit squishy, and these blitzers with the fixer support just doing a little too much damage to you. I want to say, I feel like if KOP really wanted to, he could push out and destroy the 3rd base for his opponent right here. We do have a 4th base coming down for you, and a 4th base coming down for KOP as well. And man, I've said it in virtually every single one of my Scion custom races casts, but this feels like the StarCraft 3 that we never got. I feel like I'm looking at a StarCraft 3 game, or at the very least, a StarCraft 3 expansion. Sorry, StarCraft 2 expansion. Oh man, but Blizzard, they would never create 3 new races for a StarCraft expansion. At that point, it would be StarCraft 3. There's no way it wouldn't. We have a few more volts warping in right here, but this is a really big push for our Genotron player. We have the mole right here, which is almost like a siege tank. It's like an in-between of a siege tank and a spider mine, I want to say. They look like spider mines, but to attack, they have to burrow into the ground, and this is basically their siege mode, and the animation is so cool, and look at that distance. I think that's almost more than it. Nah, actually, you know what? That might be a siege tank's worth of distance. For a second, I thought that was more than a siege tank. I'm pretty sure this is roughly a siege tank's worth of distance. But KOP going in for the kill, going into the natural base of the teal player. You trying to get a flank on his opponent right here and actually doing a decent amount of damage. He does have the Cruxes, which are a really good, I think they're a tier 2 or a tier 3 unit. They almost remind me of Archons just in their size, and they look like they're psychic as well. Their attack animation is so cool, and they are able to push out KOP from from the opposing side of the map, but at the same time, we have another attack on the third base for you right here. He may lose this Citadel. You doing a really good job at holding this off, though. He actually may be able to save this. At the same time, transferring workers to mine from his third base right here. But we have another engagement of blitzers attacking the fourth base. Let's take a look at the workers killed right here. 34 workers killed to 4 in favor of our red Genotron players. So this is a true Grandmaster level game. We have action all over the map right now. Dude. I really don't know who's gonna win. I do want to say that our red player is ahead, as we can see in the resources lost. It is 10,000 resources lost to 5,000, almost 6,000. So we do see an advantage for our red Genotron player, but I still feel like this is anybody's game. Yu is doing a really good job at keeping his bases alive. The Blitzer, though, just such a good unit. We have, what are the Umbras? They look like they look like Banelings. I bet you they use the Baneling animation to roll around like that. I think they are a caster unit, or no, actually no, I think they are a ranged unit. As we can see right there, they don't have energy and they do attack with that range ability. I think they're just a little bit of a faster unit, so they're good for running away, maybe even doing some harassment. I think the Umbra would be a great harassment unit, to be honest. Man, big pickup by you right here, able to take out all these blitzers and that mole. But at the same time, we have more blitzers right here attacking the third base location for you right here. Cop going for a blitzer, almost a blitzer only play style. I really want to see them use that that retreat animation, that speed buff that they have. It's possible they don't have any energy right now, though. Oh my god, you able to take out virtually all these blitzers. Maybe 2 or 3 of them will run away with their lives. One other cool thing about the Genotron, as we briefly saw right there, is that energy does recharge energy for the units if you go close enough. So all the buildings will recharge your energy if you are running low. We have another attack right here, though, of Pariahs, spotting what is going to be the 5th base for Cop right here, and able to snipe a blitzer as well. Good pickup right there by you. You actually, I think, slowly coming out ahead in this game. I think he just has the better tech. We see what is going to be tier 1 unit tech still from Cop, where you is actually teching up a bit. I say that, but now we have a Virtue. This thing is a beast. It can fix on the spot, and it just does ridiculous DPS, but you still with I want to say, the tech advantage. These moles doing work, though. With that siege mode, able to take out most of Yu's army right here. At the same time, though, we have what is going to be another engagement at the third base location for the Genotron player. I'm really curious how many workers died. 48 workers to 7. Big advantage for our red player. Taking a look at the worker supply, it's 89 workers to 71. So big advantage right here for our red Genotron player. But man, I still really don't know who's winning this game. I keep wanting to say Terran. They look so much like Terran, but they're not. We have the Pariahs right here. They are such a cool unit, that in between of the Zealot and the Adept. For a while, I thought they were almost like an in between of a Dark Templar and an Adept, but no, they're more like Zealots. Such a cool shade ability, as we can see, able to really get good engagements right there with it. Able to close that distance. We have another big push right here at the, I want to say, what is this? The 4th base location for our red Genotron player. You doing a lot of damage. He actually may be able to snipe this processing core. Cop finally pulling some of his ACRs to repair this thing. We have the tanks right here able to do a ton of damage. We have a couple more Virtues on the back of this. May actually push you out of this position. And Cop able to save his processing core. The equivalent of the command center. I almost said a command center, but no. It's a processing core. Something totally different. They don't even lift like the Terran. They are stuck to the ground. They do not fly away. Terran can't troll. Oh, sorry. Genotron can't troll like the Terran can. We have a couple of hidden pariahs right here, though. They are being sneaky. We have some Spitfires. The Spitfire is basically the Marine for the Genotron. They are the tier 1 unit, the staple tier 1 unit of the Genotron. They are fast. They have really good DPS. And they are just so annoying to deal with. We have another push right here. What are these? Are these ACRs? We have ACRs also attacking the Citadel right here, but the Citadel surviving just barely. This is a lot of virtues, though. Kop is taking up 2 more dangerous units. And he is expanding all over the map right here. We see red all over the bottom side of the map. I want to say Kop is still in a winning position right here. We have what is going to be another engagement on the right-hand side of the map, where at the same time we see what is going to be the 4th Citadel going down for you. I think this might spell disaster for our teal Chiron player. Chiron player. I keep saying Chiron. Damn. But the Chiron player losing his entire army right here. You throwing out the GG, losing game 1 of 7. I will see you guys on the next one. Alright guys, welcome to game number 2 of this best of 7 series. Spawning on the bottom left hand side of the map, it's going to be our red Genotron player Kop, and spawning on the top right hand side of the map, it's going to be our teal Chiron player You. You did lose game number 1 of this series, so I'm curious to see if he's going to be changing up his strategy for game number 2. We do see what is going to be an Edifice followed by another early scout. So this is virtually identical to game number 1. This doesn't necessarily rule out any sort of cheesy behavior by you. This is a pretty standard opener. So we'll see what he's up to this game. Kop throwing down what is going to be a manufacturer and follows it up with an early expansion right here. This is a slightly more greedy build than he played in game number 1. I wonder if he was going to try and take advantage of that. He does spot what is going to be the manufacturer. And one thing about the Genotron, which I think is a really cool attention to detail, is you can see what units are being built from some of their structures right here. We can see what is going to be a Spitfire building, and this is a Spitfire. This is a Spitfire unit model. So really cool attention to detail. We can also see what is going to be ACRs, the equivalent of the SCV, being built from the processing core right there. That is so cool, man. But you deciding he's seen everything he needs to see, and he is out of there. He's like, I'm not going to lose my worker. The Spitfire's just about to finish up, and it does. The Spitfire's already done. He's like, where is he? Let me at him. Let me at him. The Spitfire, like I said in the last game, is the equivalent of the Marine, but it does not have stim. It is fast enough. It has wheels, man. It does not need stim. It is fast enough as is. Stim would just be ridiculous. We do see what is going to be the Sanctum. This does open up some more tech options for the Chiron player. I think he can warp in some tankier units, if I'm not mistaken, from this Sanctum right here. So we'll find out shortly what the Chiron player is up to. I'm really curious. We do have what is going to be a Pulsar finishing up right here, and as we can see, the Pulsar is a much tankier unit than the Volt. The Volt is a tier 1 unit. We see 20 shields and 35 HP on the Volt, as opposed to the Pulsar, which has 60 shields and 140 life, and it has a decent range and DPS as well. It is a ranged unit. So we see what is going to be a small push out right here from our teal Chiron player You. I wonder how much damage he's actually going to do. I feel like this is a decent defense. He has a bit of a choke point right here, and he has what is going to be 3 Spitfires, but 3 Spitfires to 3 Volts and a Pulsar. I'm not entirely sure if this is enough. This Pulsar, as we can see, already taking out one of the Spitfires. The second Spitfire just barely surviving. You forcing a worker pull from Kop right here. This Pulsar getting 5 kills. Oh my god, how many workers died right there? 5 workers died in that early engagement. So I honestly think this is going to put you just a little bit ahead right here. Oh man, taking a look at the worker count, it's 28 workers to 34 in favor of the Chiron player, but the army supply slightly in favor of the Genotron player. The Genotron player does have 10 army supply to 7. It's really inconsequential, but this does not take KOP out of the game just yet. This is a really good play. I actually like this a lot. You saw that he destroyed a lot of workers in the early game, and instead of overcommitting to a 2-base all-in, he's like, you know what? I'm ahead. I just killed about 5 workers. I may as well expand and put myself ahead in the mid to late game at this point. And as we can see right here, KOP is still stuck on 2 bases, so you is going to be ahead in 1 base at this point in the game. I really do think this might have messed up KOP's build order just a little bit. We see what is going to be the ACR going to the 3rd base location. So, man, I really think KOP has been slowed down. He does throw down the 3rd base, but it's, I want to say it's like 50 seconds late. This Citadel just about finishing up, so you is going to be ahead in 1 base for a little bit. He's still ahead in worker supply, and now he's ahead in army supply. It's 20 army supply to 15. We have what is also going to be the Cruxes, a very, very cool unit. They're almost like mermaid Archons. I mean, I know they don't look like Archons necessarily, but just their size, and the fact that they're like kind of a psychic unit, they just remind me of Archons for some reason. We have a lot of pariahs here as well. They will be able to close the distance to any sort of siege units for the Genotron player, and we see 2 moles right here, the equivalent of the siege tank. I want to say the pariahs will be able to warp on top of these, and you don't need to research any blink or anything like that. They come out of their warp with that shade ability immediately, as we can see right here, throwing down the shade to those moles, able to take them out and open the door for the rest of the Chiron army. Sorry, the Chiron army. I keep saying Chiron. It's Chiron, but KOP throwing out the WW, giving the victory to our teal Chiron player. So now we have what is going to be 1 win versus 1 win. This is still anybody's series, so I will see you guys on game number 3. All right, welcome to game number 3 of this best of 7 series. Spawning on the bottom right-hand side of the map, it's going to be our teal Chiron player, you, and spawning on the top left-hand side of the map, it's going to be the red Genotron player, KOP. As it stands right now, it is 1 victory to 1 victory, so these players are tied, but it's only game number 3 right now, so this is truly anybody's series. Taking a look at what you is doing, throwing down the edifice and sending over an early scout, but this is something I feel like we haven't seen KOP do just yet. He's sending over an early scout himself, maybe because of the cheesy play in the last game. He just wants to get a little bit of a safety net right here. He wants to know what our Chiron player is doing, and getting some good harassment here on this converter, able to delay this expansion just a little bit. You able to start building this once again and trying to chase this this ACR away. So good attempt by KOP right there, but ultimately not delaying that expansion too much. But on the other side of the map, you able to block the expansion in the natural base location of the red Genotron player by a good amount of time. Actually, taking a look, this Citadel is just about halfway done, and this processing core just started. So you being a little bit of a nuisance right here, throwing down some harassment, and also I think messing up KOP's build order by just a little bit. And KOP actually going for the blitzers again. In game number 1, he had a very, very blitzer heavy army and was able to win. So we'll see what tech our red Genotron player goes for. Man, this is truly such a cool mod. I keep saying it, but I can't stop saying it, man. I really want to see either player going for some sort of air units, though we haven't seen any air tech coming out of the Genotron player in this series just yet. The Genotron have some really cool air units. They require a bit of unusual micro. There's one dropship that actually cloaks, I believe. I don't know for sure, but I'm pretty sure the Genotron have a cloaked dropship, which is just like a Terran drop on steroids. Why would you not do that? Why would you not do that every single game if you had a cloaked drop that you had the ability to make? I mean, Dude, like a cloaked drop, you could go right into the mineral line and you would not see it in the on the mini map unless there was some sort of detection in the main base or any mineral line for that matter for your opponent. So I really think it's some untapped potential that KOP has in playing this Genotron race. We do see what is going to be a processor just chilling in the third base location. I don't really know what this is for. It's possible he forgot about it, or he's trying to spot some sort of cheese coming out from our teal Chiron player. But no, he does take control of this processor. The super fast observer equivalent, I gotta say, man, this is such a cool unit. This is one of my favorite units. It's fast, it's a detector, and it recharges energy for your army units. So it's super, super cool. We have a pretty heavy Vault army, though. A pretty Vault-focused army right now, with a couple pariahs as well. So we have a lot of tier 1 units. The pariah, also a tier 1 unit, although I gotta say, a pretty strong tier 1 unit. That warp ability that we saw in the last game, that shade ability, I should say, is so good at closing the distance for sieged units or just armies in general. Really, really good utility ability. And as we saw in the first game, we have a blitzer heavy army. KOP thinking, look, this won me the game last time. I still have so many games left in this series. I gotta put myself ahead right here. And this is a blitzer heavy army for sure. And the blitzer is a really strong unit. I feel like it's a pretty tanky unit as well. Taking a look, 135 life with that speed buff as well. I have a feeling, I was gonna say, these pariahs are gonna warp in on top of the blitzers, but the blitzers are so strong compared to the Spitfires. Able to take out a lot of that Chiron army, but you able to take out a lot of blitzers at the same time, almost sniping this one with the 4 HP. So sorry, 16 HP. I was looking at the energy, the 16 HP. So almost able to take out that one straggling blitzer. Taking a look at the units lost, 800 resources lost to 650. So pretty even so far. Taking a look at the worker count, it is 44 workers to 50. Slight lead for you as well. Army supply, though, slight lead for the the Genotron player. 25 army supply to 21. I'm still having to get used to naming these races, man. I keep wanting to say Terran and Protoss, and then I get mixed up when I start to correct myself. But no, this is the Genotron. This is not the Terran, despite the resemblance. We have a little bit of a sneaky run-by of pariahs right here. I wonder if they're going to try and get some worker kills. At the very least, they're spotting the 4th base location, the potential 4th base location for the Genotron player. I would say that this is much more of a likely location to take for the 4th base, but these pariahs sniping 1 or 2 workers and then running away before the blitzers get there. Oh no, they're like, brother, I lost you. I am so sorry we let you die. We will try our very best to avenge you, but no, these pariahs are long gone. They are chilling in the like middle right-hand corner of the map, and we have a pretty big army right here as well. We have what are going to be the cruxes. We have the pariahs able to warp in on top of these blitzers, but I want to say a slight overextension there for our Chiron player, but maybe not actually. No, that was such a high IQ play, able to bait KOP into trying to engage this army. But these blitzers still so strong, but that was a pretty good play by you anyway. At least the head game play, he's like, hey, I'm gonna pretend I overextended and then bait the army into a warp in, but still ultimately slightly overextending right there. We do have some map vision right here. I don't recall, I think this is from a structure, but that map vision stays for a really long time. It's like an extended scan, which is really cool. But no, look at this. KOP able to come out ahead in that engagement, going for the counterattack. You warping him preemptively at his 4th base location. So good game sense by you right there, but I think this might be too much for for you to handle. We have a ton of fixers and a few blitzers, so these fixers will be able to keep these blitzers alive for an extended period of time. We don't have a lot mining at this 4th base, so if you loses it, that's not necessarily the end of the world. Just as I say that, though, he he brings in a bunch more converters right here to mine. I think at this point, though, this is enough for you to handle, is what I was going to say, but no. But no, these blitzers, man, they are just so strong. They're so hard to kill, I feel like. Able to chase away you from his 4th base. We have a bunch of converters right here. I don't really know where you is going to place these guys. I would probably run them away to the right-hand corner of the map. It's possible he wants to bring these guys back as soon as possible in case the Citadel survives. I still think this is Kop's game right here at this point, at least this engagement, because this is way too much for you to handle. He does not have a lot of army supply right now. He does have a few volts. He has what is going to be 2 cruxes. I think this base is as good as done, though. Oh no, these converters are spotted. The fixer's able to do a little bit of damage as well, so not only do they repair, but they can also do a decent amount of damage. Taking a look at the workers killed right there, 21 workers killed to 1, so big advantage there big advantage there for Kop. We have a lot of blitzers here as well, and we have Kop, who is going to be on 4 bases to what is going to be a 3-base Chiron for the time being. Yu is throwing down that 4th base one more time, trying to keep himself in the game right here. He does have more volts warping in. Taking a look at the upgrades, it's 1-1 to 2-1 in favor of the Genotron player. So, man, this is a big army. This is a big army. I really don't know what Yu is going to do right here. He might try to flank this army, or he might try to engage in a base race, or even catch some straggling blitzers. These blitzers getting caught out of position, but at the same time, we have a big engagement right here in the 3rd base location for the Chiron player, able to take out, I want to say, a lot more workers. Taking a look, 41 workers killed in this game so far. I think these tier 1 units just are not a good answer to these blitzers. The volts simply don't do enough damage to the blitzers. We have what are going to be the cruxes and the what are these guys called, the pulsars, which I think would be a much better answer to the blitzers. I know the volts, they cost only minerals. They're a good unit to throw minerals away on, but man, I think they're not necessarily the best unit to go up against these blitzers. They simply don't do enough damage. This is such a blitzer heavy army. I feel like these volts would just melt. But here we go. It looks like you going for this 3rd base right here, but may get flanked by this huge blitzer army, backed by not only the processors to recharge the blitzer energy, but the fixers to keep them alive. And here we go, the entirety of the Chiron army effectively getting wiped out. There is nothing else here for you. Taking a look at the workers killed, he did kill, I think, about 6 more workers. 6 or 10 more workers in that engagement, but losing a ton of resources. Taking a look, 14,000 resources lost to 6,700. Big advantage for Kop, our Korean Genotron player. We do have what are going to be the nullifiers. They are a very good defensive unit with that constant DPS. But this is, I think, just a little bit too much for you to handle. This is such a big blitzer army. I think for the rest of the series, what you is going to have to do is figure out a good counterplay to the blitzer if Kop decides to keep going for this in this series. Because for the time being, man, that's what I would be doing. I'd be thinking, look, these blitzers do so much damage. I feel like I could win my way through this best of 7 series on blitzers alone. We do have what is going to be the Myriad. It is a very cool unit. Big unit that does, I can't remember exactly. I think it reminds me of like StarCraft 1 units. It builds these little machines. So it's almost like a walking carrier. But this is a unit I have to familiarize myself with a bit more. I haven't built a lot of them. but they might be the answer to the blitzers. This fourth base, though, going down. At the same time, we have a blitzer push out right here in the third base location. Taking a look at the workers killed. 52 workers now killed by our red Genotron player. Yu is still in this game, but he is severely behind, I want to say. Taking a look at the army supply. 114 army supply to 38. So, man, at this point in the game, Yu is going to have to, he's going to have to do some serious damage. No, never mind. Yu throwing out the GG, giving the victory to our red Genotron player. So as it stands, 2 victories to 1 in favor of Kop, our Korean red player. So I will see you guys on game number 4. Welcome to game number 4 of 7 in this series. Spawning on the bottom right-hand side of the map, it is going to be our teal Chiron player, Yu, and spawning on the top left-hand side of the map, it's going to be our red Genotron player, KOPDSD. Kop is ahead 2-1 in this series so far, so we'll see what Yu decides to pull in this game to get himself at the very least tied. Moving forward in this series, he is throwing down the edifice, following it up with the early scout. This is something we've seen him do in every single game, but I almost feel like the scout's moving in an odd direction, but we also see what is going to be a relatively early scout coming from Kop in a similar trajectory, so maybe we don't see anything cheesy. I really want to see him throw down a proxy citadel to warp in some units, but it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to do that. It would take way too long and cost way too much money to throw down a proxy citadel to get some forward warp-ins for the Chiron. So I don't think we're going to see that in this series, but man, I really, really want to. It does look like Kop is trying to throw down some harassment right here. Good switch up with those workers right there. Able to save his workers and almost snipe that ACR. That ACR trying to do some harassment right here in the natural base location, but not doing that. It does look like Yu is trying to delay this expansion, and does by just a few seconds. Not quite as long as he was able to do in the last game. So both players throwing down some early expansions, as you would expect Grandmaster players to do. We have not seen any one base all-ins in this series just yet, but we still have a few games to go after this one, so we can't rule anything out. Kop going for what is going to be a double manufacturer opener, so I wonder if he's actually going for some 2-base all-in sort of play. Usually, at least in the last few games, what we've seen Kop do is throw down a manufacturer and then some tech. I don't think we've seen him open double manufacturer just yet, so I wonder, is he gonna go for a mega heavy blitzer play? We see the blitzers again already, and man, I can't blame him. The blitzer's been doing him good. It's been carrying him through in this series. The blitzer, I don't think is necessarily overtuned too much. I think the main issue for Yu at this point in the series is he has to find a better counter to the blitzer. Right now, the Volts, they just don't do enough damage. They're too squishy and they don't deal enough damage to the blitzer. The blitzer does have 135 HP. It's pretty tanky. Paired that with the fixers and their ability to speed up, man, they are just a really, really good unit. The fact that they're a tier 1 unit is honestly kind of insane to me. I don't know for sure if you need an analysis terminal to build them. You might, but regardless, the analysis terminal is good to have because you can get some upgrades from it. As we can see, we already have what is going to be 1 attack upgrades halfway done for our red player. Taking a look at the production tab, we still don't see any attack upgrades coming out from the Chiron player, but Yu is throwing down a relatively early third base right now. It is third base coming down before, or at least starting before the 4 minute mark. I think it should finish around the 4 minute and 45 second mark, roughly. But Kop, with this processor, able to spot this, so he has eyes on the map. He's like, I know everything. I am the all-seeing Genotron player, and moving out. Okay, I thought he was moving out with these blitzers, which I would have not been mad about. This is a decent amount of blitzers. Taking a look at the army supply, 17 army supply to 8, so actually 19 army supply to 8, so this is a big lead for Kop. with this army supply. Oh, man. So I guess he is going for a more or less 2-base all-in. We see the manufacturers, 3 of them, all of them building blitzers. We have what is also going to be an outfitting station, which I think opens up some more of the tech tree for the Genotron player. But here we go. We have a push out in the 3rd base. The processor was able to spot this, and we can see the blitzers finally living up to their name, blitzing on out of there with that charge ability, which, like I said, lasts 4 seconds about and increases their movement speed by 50%. I'm pretty sure. I'm like 5% sure that it increases their movement speed by about 50%. But this is looking to be a pretty good army for you right now. At this point, though, he should probably think about teching up. He saw a lot of blitzers, and in the last couple games he played against blitzers, they basically tore his army apart. So I would like to see a little bit more tech coming out of you potentially. I'm not a pro Chiron player by any means, though. The blitzers, the pariahs warping in behind the blitzers, able to get a really good surround right here, actually. And we have a lot more pariahs on the way as well to reinforce this Chiron army. You actually able to take out the majority of these blitzers, and now it looks like he may be ahead. Taking a look at the resources lost, 1,800 resources lost to 1,500, virtually even, but now we have some Chiron army units, excuse me, I keep saying Chiron. Oh, it's like it branded into my brain. I can't not say it anymore, but able to take out quite a lot of the Genotron army. The Fixers are such a cool unit because they can attack and they can also heal. Able to take out that Pulsar as well. I think with the Pariah reinforcements, I think you could have done even more damage. Taking a look at the workers killed right here, 7 workers killed to 4, so pretty even. The worker supply, though, pretty big lead for you, 61 workers to 49, with also a lead in army supply, 27 army supply to 16. So it's looking like this may be Yu's game at this point. Taking a look at the production tab, 1 attack upgrades almost done for our teal player. Taking a look at the upgrades on the field right now, we have what is going to be 1 attack upgrades, and I think these are I think that's a speed upgrade for the Vault. I'm not sure what this upgrade is, though. So that's something I'll have to keep in mind for future casts. A lot more pariahs. Man, that pariah shade ability is so cool, dude. Oh my god. It can change engagements instantly. Wow, and it looks super cool. I love the use of that, man. And you can be so aggressive with it. Cop throwing out the WW, leaving the game, giving the victory to you, and tying up this series now, I think, is 2 wins to 2 wins. So this is going to be anybody's game, and I'll see you guys for game number 5. Welcome to game number 5 in our best of 7 series. As it currently stands, it's 2 victories to 2 victories. So this 5th game will decide who is ahead moving forward. Spawning on the top left-hand side of the map, it's going to be our red Genotron player Cop. And spawning on the bottom right-hand side of the map, it's our teal Chiron player You. You guys have no idea how hard it is for me to not say Chiron anymore. I've been saying Chiron the entire time I've been casting Scion games, and now it's branded into my brain. It's worked its way into the neurons of my head, and I physically cannot get them out, man. That name is stuck in my brain, but I'm doing my best. It does look like Cop able to actually get some worker harassment right here, denying the production of the Citadel. The Citadel is stuck in the water right now. It is not building. You able to chase away this worker, but no, wait a minute. Cop actually coming back and throwing down more harassment right here. I would expect to see another converter to come defend this. Oh my god, you must be paying attention to the other side of the map, actually losing that worker. So before the 2-minute mark, it does look like Cop able to take out 1 worker with his ACR. You just now spotting that, realizing, oh no, I lost one of my workers. He's been too busy trying to harass right here, actually almost losing his converter on the other side of the map. He did get some decent scouting information, does see that there's no that there's no weird proxies going on, sees that there's a manufacturer right here, probably saw that this is a blitzer. In fact, coming out from this manufacturer, the blitzer, the MVP unit for KOP in this series, it has carried him through several games, and man, the blitzer really is a good unit. The pariahs seem to be a good answer, though, if you get a good surround, if you get some good engagements with those pariahs, the unit that has that fast shade-in ability, and you get a surround on those blitzers, yeah, you may be able to take out a lot, but man, the blitzer is it's a really strong unit. I feel like there's some other answer that the Chiron must have outside of the pariah, because the edificer unit, the equivalent of gateway units, they don't seem to do too well. Oh, here we go. So we have a fuse coming from the conduit. This is a literal flying structure, as we can see, kind of floating above the mineral line. Now, the fuse able to get some good scouting information. I have not actually considered using a fuse for scouting, which is kind of silly because it is so fast and it looks like a flying whale. That's actually sick. Now, if you guys don't know what the fuse does, the fuse is basically a portable shield. I like the use of using it for scouting, but it can become a shield. It doesn't attack. It doesn't do anything other than fly around. Oh, you better be careful or else he'll lose that fuse. But what the fuse does is it turns into a shield for any unit you want, and the shield doesn't time out. So it can make your units really tanky, especially I like to use it on capital ships. I think it's really cool to use on capital ships. We have another sky unit right here, the Echo, dealing a decent amount of air damage. I think they're only anti-air, and as we can see, the fuse turned into the shield. So this is what the fuse shield looks like. It's like a little yellow bubble. Which I think is a really cool animation and a really cool unit. But we have what is going to be the third base, finishing up for our red Genotron player. You just now throwing down his third Citadel, losing that worker in the early game, I think really slowed him down. I think it kind of messed with his build order, but I like the fact that he's changing it up, going for sky units. We have another Echo, which I can't remember exactly if this is a anti-air only unit, but oh dude, we saw it. We saw what is the fuse. I think my Echo actually just talked to me. I'm sorry about that. You could probably hear her in the background trying to tell me something. I was like, who is that? But man, this fuse looks so good. Oh, and I know why, because I'm actually saying that word. So I'm going to have to say something other than this word right here that we can see in the right-hand corner, because I'm going to start triggering my my artificial intelligence in my house. Oh, that is so funny. I can't believe I hadn't thought about... Oh, what is this? I actually don't know what that ability is. I haven't used this unit before, but very cool. Very cool looking ability. That animation was sick. Now we have what is going to be a lot of blitzers, which, as we saw, also do anti-air damage. So a very good all-around unit coming from the manufacturer as well, which is just crazy. And as we can see right here, we have two more manufacturers on the way. So I really think KOP is going to be going for another blitzer heavy play, and can you really blame him? These things have been carrying him through this series. We have some generators which do increase the energy cap for the Genotron, and keep in mind, in case you guys forgot, this energy, it's basically a power grid. It's shared for all of the structures in the Genotron army and for some of the Genotron units as well. Some of their energy abilities, that purple energy, some of that purple energy ability for the Genotron actually requires that shared power grid energy, which I think is really cool. It's something that we don't see in other StarCraft 2 races. But here we go. It looks like a little bit of a standoff. You setting himself up for a push, I think, to the natural base is where I think he's going. No, he's actually going to the third base. This must be a shield. This must be similar to the Sentry force field. Or not force field, but the Sentry shield. Man, these blitzers, though, doing so much damage, able to take out most of the Chiron army. And if I just said Chiron, I apologize, because like I said, it's branded into my head at this point. It's like there's literally the words Chiron, the pronunciation Chiron is physically written into the front part of my brain. It's just hanging out right there. I like this use of the edifices, though, creating a little bit of a choke point right here. So if the blitzers try to come in, they have to go through this choke point and possibly engage in a situation that is not ideal for them. They may get surrounded by pariahs if they're not careful. We do see what is a decent amount of pariahs right here. We do see the cruxes as well with the shields, that extra shield from I can't remember what it's called already. I already forgot, but that flying unit that creates the shield. And here we go. We have a push with these blitzers, the pariahs getting to the flank of this army, but not doing too much damage. Taking a look at the units lost, it's almost 2,000 units, 2,000 resources lost to 1,000. So a bit of a lead for our red Genotron player. It really seems like the blitzer is the more cost-effective unit. I gotta say, we have what is going to be 1 attack upgrades for our Genotron player, and then the speed upgrade for the Volt, I believe, for our Chiron player. We have a couple nullifiers right here. Actually, 1 nullifier and 1 Oculus. I think the nullifier is anti-ground defense only. I think it only shoots ground units, but it doesn't matter too much because at this point, you really should realize that that Cop is going to be going for another blitzer slash fixer combo with a mole as well. I think the mole is a really good addition to this because once it sieges up, man, I think it, yeah, I was going to say, I think it actually could reach over this cliff and start attacking the Chiron units. So this is actually a really hard position for you to deal with. But this mole is alone. If you spots this, may be able to snipe that mole. We have what is going to be a push out right here on the 4th base location for you. So you actually finding himself in another rough position at the hands of these blitzers. These Volts actually doing a decent job at holding this off. So the Volts in numbers pretty strong. They're also backed by the Pulsars and the Cruxes. So these are tankier, higher DPS units able to take out a lot of these blitzers. So I think all you has to do to deal with these blitzers is mix in some of those tier 2 and tier 3 units. I'm pretty sure the Crux is a tier 3 unit. Is to mix in some higher tier units with his tier 1 units to deal some more DPS, and because they're tankier. And we have, what are these guys called again? The Fuse. The Fuse, which will add additional shields to whatever unit you decides to defend. And now it suddenly looks like the Blitzer's not doing as good as they have in the past. We have a few more Bolts right here, actually doing way more damage this time. So maybe I was wrong about these Volts not being the answer to the Blitzer. Yeah. So Cop able to push this army away, but at the cost of a lot of Blitzers. Taking a look at the resources lost, excuse me, it is going to be resources lost. It is going to be 5,800 resources lost to 5,500 resources lost. So virtually even for both players right now. This is still really anybody's game. And we have these little turtle things, these wards. I don't actually remember what the wards do, but they look super, super cool. I think they must be a ranged unit. Actually, I think I do remember what they do. They shoot like this ball. They're like a single target unit. They don't do splash damage, I don't think, and they shoot like a high DPS ball at each unit, and then the ball returns to them, and then they can attack again, if I'm remembering correctly. We'll find out shortly. We have a decent army, though, right here. It looks like of Blitzers followed by some moles to keep this position defended. And these moles, with their crazy range, will keep this position shut down. We don't have any pariahs right here to warp in on top of these moles. So Yu is in a position where he's thinking right now. He's like, okay, what do I do right here? He's warping in some more units, but this Citadel, I just noticed, is almost dead. It does have its shields up, but it only has 318 health. The health is slowly regenerating. Oh, and here we go. So these guys, it looks like throwing down some defense, but this is a big engagement by Cop. I feel like, taking a look at the resources lost, 8,000 resources lost to 7,000. Slight lead for our red Genotron player. We have another push out right here, though, of pariahs actually taking out, I feel like, a lot of workers right here. Maybe not as much as I thought. It's 6 workers killed to 3. Slight lead in workers killed for Cop right here. We have a lot of these fused shields on this Chiron army, though. These bubbles look so cool, and I like how they wrap around dynamically around any unit. It's not like a single animation. It really depends on what unit they're surrounding, which is super cool. Good attention to detail by Solstice, gotta say. Here we go. We have some fixers. We have a lot of blitzers, so it really looks like this is going to be the composition for this game for our red Genotron player. We have another big push out right here. This mole doing a crazy amount of DPS, I feel like, only with 1 kill, though. I feel like if you move this mole just a tiny bit forward and move the blitzers a tiny bit forward, he'd be able to snipe this Citadel and keep our Genotron, or sorry, our Chiron on 1 base. We have another push out right here at the 4th base location, or maybe this is the 3rd base. I don't even know. This is the 3rd base location. So, man, this is a big push out. I think we're going to see a double-pronged attack right here. We have another army on the left-hand side of the Chiron map. God damn it. I keep saying Chiron. But these moles doing a crazy amount of damage. We have another big engagement right here on the left-hand side of the map. But what was that? I think it's the Myriad doing a crazy amount of damage to these blitzers. And we have a really, really well reinforced army of the Chiron right here with the shields on that from that fuse. But at the same time, losing his 3rd base location. So I really think KOP might be ahead in this game at this point. Taking a look at the workers killed, 11 workers killed to 5. And I love this music, man. S-tier music. StarCraft always had the best music, man. Never gets old. And here we go. We have a push out into the natural base as well. Into used natural base. This may be an overextension, though, for our red Genotron player. We do have what are the Titans. The Titan is a crazy anti-ground unit, as we can see, dealing so much damage and so tanky. With the help of the Volts, able to take out all those blitzers. So you know what? Given how many blitzers we just saw go down, this might keep you in the game. Wow. So these Titans coming in at a very crucial point in this game. For a second, I thought that was it for you. I thought maybe he was going to lose his natural base or lose all his tech to those blitzers, but no. Those Titans able to take out so many of those blitzers, I feel like, or at the very least deal a lot of DPS. We also have the Myriads pretty slow, but also with those units that they generate, I can't remember what they call. I feel like they're almost like little carriers, but on the ground. So very, very cool. And this is exactly what I thought that you should have done in the last game that he lost to the blitzers, was tech up to something beyond just tier 1, because it's very clear to me, at least, that the blitzer deals very well with the tier 1 units of the Chiron. Big engagement right here. It looks like you trying to avenge his 3rd base by taking out the 4th or 5th base of KOP. We have the shields. I think these are shields that are being generated by the wards, which makes sense given their name, ward. So I think these must be defensive ability, and I love the use of the fuse as well, keeping so many of his units safe with that extra shield buff. And we have what is also going to be another push out right here at the 4th base location. Man, this game is getting intense. This game is getting so intense, I don't even have time to make jokes, bro. I have no time for joking around. This game is too serious. This was advertised to me as a professional Scion custom game by you. So, I gotta say, this game does feel very professional. It feels very, very posh. Getting a cancel on that expansion right there. Good catch by you, making sure not to lose it before it finishes. So great job keeping map awareness, but still, this is a lot of blitzers though. Taking a look at the upgrades, we have what is going to be 2 attack upgrades and 1 shield upgrade, I think, to 2-2 for the Genotron player, but we have both players entering a base race situation. Both of them are like, you know what? This game is over. We're done. Let's go to game 6 of the series. So I think we have officially entered a base race, ladies and gentlemen. We have a few units right here to try and defend against this this blitzer army, but You know, it actually looks like Cop deciding to go home. He's like, hey, I took out a base for my opponent. Now I'm gonna go defend. Oh my god. I don't know. I think this is too many blitzers for you to handle, to be honest. But the Titans are a very high DPS, basically a tier 3 anti-ground unit. May be able to keep his army alive right here, especially if these blitzers get stuck in the choke point, which it looks like they are briefly getting stuck, actually. And we have another push out of big units right here by the Chiron player. Oh my god, these blitzers, I think, may go down, actually. Oh no. I don't know. I don't know who's winning this engagement. I think the Genotron ever so slightly, I think. Yeah, I think the blitzers will pull through, but we have another push out right here on the right-hand side of the Genotron map, of the Genotron side of the map. Oh my god. I really don't know. I really don't know who's going to win this. We do have the fuses getting placed on these more expensive units. I love the use of that. At the same time, though, Yu is forced to long-distance mine until he rebuilds that base. Taking a look at the resources, it's 200 minerals to 400. Yu has just enough minerals to throw down another expansion. Cop is at 300 minerals right now, and he just almost lost this base. It's just barely hanging on by a thread. It is glitching out. This is actually not a glitch. This is an animation. When Genotron structures get heavily damaged, they stop producing. And that animation happens. So very cool attention to detail, as I've said in the other games of this series. We have a few Elytrons right here, which I think come out of the Myriad. So yeah, they're like walking carriers, pretty cool. And we have what is also the Aegis. This is basically the capital ship for the Chiron, but it stays on the citadels, and it can warp in between other citadels. You can only have one of them, and they are a ridiculous defensive structure. So Cop doing well not to engage in that. It's a very expensive structure, though. I think it costs 400 minerals and 400 gas, so just as much as a mothership for the Protoss. Taking a look at the army supply, though, it's 90 army supply to 57 in favor of our red Genotron player. This Aegis may keep you in the game for a bit longer, though, enough to catch up, I think. Oh wow, that was a cool animation. I'm not entirely sure what that was. I think that was from the Myriad, actually. But we have a lot of blitzers again. Oh no. I think the Citadel may be in trouble. The blitzers, with the support of those moles, with that siege mode. Oh, here we go. Very cool. This is a defensive ability for the Aegis. Effectively a big force field, able to defend these units and keep them alive. I don't know if the Aegis attacks when it is in this mode, but it is low on energy. So once it's down on energy, I think Cop may be able to attack this base. What I would do at this point is just move to the natural base. There's not a lot here, though, so maybe he thinks it's not worth it because there's no minerals at natural base right now. Oh no, Yu is being forced to long distance mine, and we see so many expansions for Cop. Yu is hanging on in this game, but I really think Cop may be ahead. Yu probably doesn't realize that there's a lot more expansions for the red Genotron player at the moment. We have another push out of blitzers into the natural base. What I would do is go to the main base and destroy the tech of my opponent. Yu trying to defend this, though, coming in to flank this army. But these blitzers, man, they are just so fast and so strong. We have the Titan, though, dealing a lot of damage right here, melting through some of these blitzers, but this is a bit of a choke point to be dealing with, so it's not ideal for you to be walking up this ramp with the blitzers already inside. Oh my god. Here we go. This is a really good engagement, actually, I think, for Yu. Maybe not enough, though. I thought for a second he was going to be able to deal with the blitzers. These blitzers actually going down. This Titan with the 5 kills, able to take out these blitzers. No way. So the Titan, man, tier 3 anti-ground unit, very powerful. But now we have chaos all over the map, to be honest. There's blitzers riding around everywhere. This Aegis keeping this base safe, but we now have what is going to be one mining base for our teal Chiron player. This is not an ideal situation, and taking a look at the worker supply, it's 37 workers to 28, so taking a look at the workers killed, 75 workers killed by red and 55 by teal. Taking a look at the resources lost, 38,000 resources lost to 35,000, so all things considered a pretty even game, but at the same time, looking at the resources right now, 1,600 minerals for our red Genotron player, but I don't know, is this going to be the MVP composition for our teal Chiron player, man? Is he gonna still pull through? I don't really know. He really needs to expand if he wants to stay in this game for any longer. This is a decent amount of blitzers, but this Titan with the 5 kills, the Myriad with the 3 kills, this Myriad with the 7, you realizing his position, leaving the game, giving the victory to our red Korean player. So as it stands right now, 3 victories to 2. I will see you guys on game number 6. Welcome to game number 6 of 7 in our best of 7 series. As it currently stands, it's 3 victories for KOP to 2 victories for you. So if you wants to stay in this game and win himself this series, he absolutely needs to win this game number 6 to get himself into game number 7 and then win game number 7. So a little bit more pressure on our teal player. Spawning on the bottom right-hand side of the map, it's going to be our teal Chiron player, you, and spawning on the top left-hand side of the map, it's going to be our Korean red Genotron player, KOP. I'm really excited to see what these guys have in store for us today. If I was in used shoes, I'd probably cheese just because I'd be terrified. The pressure would get to me, I'll tell you guys that much, but no, it does look like he's going for the early expansion right here. We do have KOP scouting this out, seeing that there's an expansion coming down for you, a really early one. I feel like this is one of the earlier expansions we've seen coming from our teal player, and you setting himself up to save this converter. He's not gonna lose it like last time. Well, wait, no, oh no. You just barely missing the save on his worker, losing it for the second time in a row, losing it the same exact way he lost it in the last game. He just barely missed it. Oh, that is painful. Will he avenge it? He will avenge his worker though, so he does even it out just a little bit. Both players killing 1 worker each, and ultimately the Citadel not being delayed too much. If he didn't kill that ACR though, that would have been super frustrating for you, man. I would be so mad. I would be like, you know what? GG. We're fine. It's fine. You win the series. I can't make the same mistake twice. It's all in good fun. It's all in good fun. Now, taking a look, what are we seeing coming from our Genotron player? Going for an earlier expansion as well. He doesn't have 2 manufacturers like he had in the last couple games. Of course, having the Blitzer, the MVP unit of this series, I gotta say. And we actually have the second manufacturer coming down, but it's a bit later. It looks like KOP going for a bit of a greedier play right here. We have a good amount of volts, though. Honestly, with the amount of volts Yu's got, and the fact that he's got the Sanctum, which should allow him to build some tankier units, honestly, I think you could push out and do some harassment right here. There's only 2 blitzers right now. There's going to be 1 more blitzer on the way, but this is only 2 blitzers, and we have what is going to be a decent amount of volts with the ability to warp in Sanctum units as well. So, you know, it looks like the Chiron player, you may be going for some early harassment, I want to say. He is building an edifice right here as well, creating himself a little bit of a wall. So maybe going for the macro play. There is a processor right here for KOP, scouting out what is going on the Chiron side of the map. Guys, I almost said Chiron again. I am so sorry. The Chiron side of the map. It looks like we see what is also going to be an early third base for our red Genotron player. We have a decent amount of blitzers on the way. We only have 3 blitzers on the map currently, though. We have what is going to be pariahs, and we have volts. At this point, looking at the unit composition for our Chiron player, I think he's also going for a bit of a macro play style. Except for the fact, okay, I was going to say we don't see a third base just yet, but we have one queued up. So looks like this is going to be a macro game coming from both players. Both players playing a clean game. You not letting his position put too much pressure on him. My fingers would be too sweaty to even play StarCraft at this point. If I was in this position where I had to win 2 games in a row to win the series, this is not the best position to be in. There is a little bit more of a cushion for Kop. If Kop loses this game, no big deal. He still has one more game to win. If you loses this game, that's it. Series over. So we'll find out what happens this game. We already have the Cruxes out on the field. We have a decent amount of Pariahs, which I do think are a decent answer to early game blitzers at the very least, just because of that fast shade ability. Do have a decent amount of blitzers, though. Taking a look at the production tab, we also have what I think are fixers on the way as well, which will add a little bit more staying power for the Genotron units. This processor almost going down, but this does give Kop map vision. And gives him knowledge of the position of the Chiron army, but these blitzers playing ring around the rosy with this processing core, able to take out a lot of these Pariahs, but these blitzers actually getting taken down. I think we only have 2 blitzers left, and we have a lot of volts, and we have 1 Crux on the field right now, at least on the Genotron side of the map, and this third base looks as good as shut down. This fixer running to save the day. He is on a mission. Look at him go. A lot of these units are softened up. This fixer actually getting so many kills. My guy, no way. Oh, no way. He got 5 kills. He got 5 kills, dude. The fixer is a crazy good unit. He literally running with a purpose and meaning it. That was crazy. We have the Pariahs here, though, to avenge the Chiron army, the fallen Chiron army at the hands of that one fixer, which I think went down. Dang, I was going to give him a name, but he's already dead. Another big push right here. It looks like we have some constant harassment on the Genotron side of the map. These Cruxes moving really slow, though. I think they are going to go down. They are actually able to do some decent kiting, but no, ultimately going down. Able to get 1 blitzer in that engagement at the very least. Taking a look at the workers killed, though. 9 workers killed by you. 1 worker killed by Kop, and that 1 worker was the worker that was killed during that harassment in the early game. We have a fabricator here as well, the factory equivalent of the Genotron. Even though the manufacturer technically builds like tank looking units, these are our tier 1 units. They're our equivalent of the barracks. This fabricator, the equivalent of the factory. This is, I think, where the moles come from. But we have some decent macro coming out from you. He's lost quite a lot of his army units. Taking a look at the resources lost, actually pretty even, 2,500 to 2,300, slightly to the advantage of our red Genotron player, but we finally have some pulsars. I think they're a really good support unit in terms of how tanky they are. They're a bit slow, but they deal a decent amount of DPS, and they can stay alive a lot longer than the Pariahs and the Volts. I love the use of this processor, though. It's so fast. It is such an annoying unit to deal with when you're getting scouted. Oh, here we go. Big surround with the Pariahs on these blitzers, but the blitzers able to kite back to the safety of the natural base and dealing quite a lot of damage. I think this might be a little bit too much of an overextension for you right here, but has the Pariah support going to the flank of the army. I love the use of these Pariahs, but there's just not enough of them. I would focus down this almost dead blitzer, but no, this is basically all of what the Chiron had lost in that engagement. Wait, is this purple gas? Oh, I guess this is purple gas. I never noticed that. Wait a minute. Oh, yeah, it is purple gas. Oh, I never noticed that. So we do have purple gas being mined by our Chiron player. We have what is going to be a 4th base just now being put down by the Genotron. And we have a 4th base coming down. Oh, sorry. No, this is the 5th base coming down for the Chiron. The 4th base is right here, taking advantage of that purple gas. Oh man, very cool. I love the look of the formulator too. The equivalent of the refinery, super cool, or the equivalent of the simulator, depending on what race you're playing. The equivalent of the mining, of the gas mining structure. We have what is going to be, looks like an engagement on the left-hand side of the map right here. May force the cancel on this processing core if he attacks it soon enough, but at this point, oh, preemptive cancel right there. I really think, well, maybe not. I was going to say Cop may have been able to save that, but he was stuck in this slow field right here. So, deciding that he was not going to be able to save that base, decides to cancel it while he still could. And here we go. This army looking pretty good. Taking a look at the upgrades, it's 1-1 to 1-1, so even upgrades right now for both players. Again, though, this is a lot of blitzers and these pariahs moving out of position. I'm not sure I actually agree with that because blitzers, you know, deal a lot of damage, but with the speed buff from the Citadel, actually able to push out those blitzers from his base and going for what is going to be some harassment right here, may be able to take out some of these blitzers as well. And I was going to say what I was going to do at this point is not focus on the blitzers. I would just focus on the economy. These pariahs are basically kamikaze pariahs. They are not going to survive this mission, but they will be able to take out a decent amount of workers. Taking a look at the workers killed right now, 18 workers total killed by the Chiron player, and only that one worker killed by Cop. So this is actually looking pretty good for you right now. I gotta say, you is playing a real tight game right now. He's thinking, look, it's all or nothing right now. I've got literally nothing to lose and everything to win. Oh man, what a cool series. This is actually my first best of series ever, and fitting enough that it is a Scion Custom Races mod series. I'm having so much fun with this. It's like we're casting a StarCraft in an alternate universe, which is what we kind of are. We have an Insider right here. The Insider, if you guys don't know about it, has this really cool ability where it basically flies to the army and does a bunch of AoE damage, but it also does damage normally. As we can see right here, it's shooting like these fireballs. Super cool unit. I'm surprised we haven't seen it earlier. I wonder if we're going to see the Insider flying ability as well. Oh man, this is still a lot of blitzers though, man. Oh no, I don't know if Yu has enough to just deal with this army outright. He needs to warp in some more units. We do have the Myriads, which, like I said, are those walking carrier type of units. Very cool. We also have the Nullifiers. Very good static defensive structure for the Chiron. But man, dude, this is a lot, and we have the moles here to back this up. This siege capability of the Genotron is ridiculous, man. You realizing his position, running away. At this point, this base may be a sacrificial base. We do actually have another engagement of pariahs right here at the same time, though. So we may see a lot of economical damage being done by our Teal Chiron player. Looking on the mini-map, though, the pariahs do go down. We have what is going to be a decent amount of DPS being done by these nullifiers. These moles, though, I would love to see some pariahs just warp into the back of these moles. There's only 2 of them. And taking a look right now, it looks like you actually able to take out some of these blitzers, these myriads, putting in a ton of work with their, what are these flying units called? The Electrons. Elytrons? Well, whatever. These Elytrons, a really cool unit from the Myriad. I really like the Myriad, actually. It looks so sick, honestly. I love the color on that carapace thing that it's got going on. Super cool. Here we go, though. We have a lot of blitzers. Man, I love that Cop is like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I got my blitzers. They won me multiple games in this series, man. I'm gonna keep building them. They may have sounded like Terran, but they are not. That's not actually Terran. But I still came in with that Terran accent. Oh, here we go. Here we go. This is a big engagement. These Myriads, though, may be able to deal a lot of DPS on these blitzers, I think. This is a huge engagement by you right here, taking out so many of the blitzers, and may force the cancel on what I think is the 5th base. At the same time, we have an engagement of pariahs at the 4th base location. This is so many pariahs. So much of the economy is going down for the Genotron player. And these myriads, I think they're the answer to the blitzer, actually. I think you finally found it. I think he finally found what he needs to build against a heavy blitzer play. This processing core going down, man. Cop throwing out the WW, giving the 6th game victory to you, our teal Chiron players. So now we have a tie. It's going to come down to this, the 7th game, which I will see you guys in a moment. All right, guys, game number 7, the game that will decide the victor of our best of 7 series. I have high expectations, man. Spawning on the bottom left-hand side of the map, it's going to be our teal Chiron player, you, and spawning on the top right-hand side of the map, it's going to be our red Genotron player, KOPDSD. We'll see what these guys have in store for us. I'm wondering if we're going to see some cheese in the last game of the series, but based on the way these guys have been playing, I don't expect so. Oh my god, we have what is going to be you throwing down an early expansion right here. He is not going to make the same mistake. There's no way he's going to make the same mistake he made 2 times in a row in this series. And no, he's like, we're not doing this today. We're not doing this for the last game. Get out of here. Let's play a clean macro game, which I think is exactly what we're seeing. We see what is going to be pretty early expansions coming down for both players, as I would expect from Grandmaster level players. If you are stuck in a league, go ahead and watch your replays and see how late or early you guys are expanding, because honestly, if you can pull it off, the earlier you expand, the better. Now, we see what is going to be a conduit being built. This is going to allow some air tech to be built by our Chiron player. As we can see right here, it's a floating structure. You can kind of barely see it, but it is floating. I think that is such a cool gimmick for the Chiron. The fact that they have flying structures that they can physically build over other buildings and mineral patches. Very cool. I still don't know if they can be attacked by anti-air units. That's something I want to test out, because I think that would be kind of cool too, just because it's something that's so unique. We don't see that in any other StarCraft 2 races. The ability to build literal flying buildings. The Stargate for the Protoss, it looks like it flies, but it's not technically flying. You can't build it over things. So, and here we go. We see what is going to be blitzers. I keep saying it, the MVP of the Genotron race. Evidently, that man, the blitzers are just so tanky for the tech that you need to build them. They are coming out of the manufacturer, the tier 1 building, the barracks. You can build them so early and so fast, and man, and they attack air and ground. Such a good unit. But I do think you found the answer using the myriads. I believe it was the myriads to do some major DPS to these blitzers. And man, like I said, this is my first best of 7 series. It's been a bit of a challenge, but it's been a lot of fun as well. So if you guys want me to cast any of your own games, or if you want me to cast a series, send them to my email or join my Discord and send them over there. I will get to them eventually. I do have a huge queue, just a heads up. I have a huge queue of content to make, but it will get done eventually. And here we go. We have a processor flying around, scouting out the 3rd base locations for the Chiron. Cop is going to see that this is still a 2-base Chiron, and he's throwing down a 3rd base of his own, so he can rest assured that he's going to be ahead in economy briefly. But he did pause right here, and I think he saw the converter mine this little mineral patch right here. So if he's got the game sense that I expect that he does, considering he's a GM Korean player, probably realizes that this is going to be a 3rd base coming down relatively soon for his opponent right here. And if he had any doubts, he doesn't have anymore, because we have a Spitfire right here attacking the Citadel. I don't think he was paying attention to the Spitfire, though. Will lose the Spitfire. If he was paying attention, he would have been able to snipe this converter right here and delay it by just a little bit. We have what is going to be I'm not going to say this word, because my my Alexa, whose name is this thing at the bottom right here, will get triggered. I still don't know what this ability does. Really interesting, though. It has a really, really sick animation. I have to build one myself and see what exactly it does. I'm still getting used to the meta of this game. Here we go. We have another one with the shield around it right there from the, not the processor. What was it called? The thing that fuses to it. Man, I keep forgetting what that flying unit's called. But we'll see one shortly, I am sure. We have a lot of pariahs here as well. The fuse. So it is called the fuse. Okay, so the fuse, that will turn into a shield for whatever unit you want it to turn into a shield around, which is super, super cool. I feel like we don't see a lot of units like that in StarCraft either. It gives you a lot of flexibility in what you want to focus on protecting. If you have a big capital ship and you have a fuse and that ship is getting focused down, throw the fuse on there. It's going to become way tankier. Super, super interesting. We have way more edifices here being built. We have 4 more edifices. So this is going to be an heavy edifice-focused army. Once again, we have a lot of paragons right here. We have the Crux. The thing that reminds me of the Archon, even though it really doesn't look like an Archon, it has no business reminding me of an Archon. I'll tell you guys that much. We have what is going to be a push out right here with the Spitfires. I think it looks like they did snipe. They did snipe the converter that was building that Citadel right there and actually forcing the cancel on it. I really don't think it was necessary to cancel it. I think you would have been able to protect it, but maybe not. Maybe not. We have a good map vision for our red Genotron player, though, trying to keep an eye out using these Xel'Naga watchtowers. Man, this looks like a pretty strong army for the Chiron. I gotta say, taking a look at what the Genotron's doing, it looks like he's mixing in a lot more Spitfires this time. Honestly, though, I would go for the Blitzers. Oh, very big shade-in with those pariahs, able to get a good surround, a good engagement on that army, and taking out a ton of those Spitfires. We have quite a few Volts left right here. We have more pariahs right here, which I would warp in, and he does. Getting surrounded by those workers, though. Taking a look at the workers killed right here. 3 workers killed to 1. Really nothing too crazy right now. These Spitfires able to clean up the rest of the Chiron army, though. These echoes, man. Oh, wait. Okay, I said it, and she didn't get triggered. I was like, wait a minute, I said the word I'm not supposed to say. But I really want to know what this ability does. I'll have to look it up. We have a lot more pariahs here, though. We have the pulsars as well. Here we go. It looks like these pariahs getting dragged out from the rest of the Chiron army. I don't think you is necessarily paying attention to this. These pulsars, though, I would build a lot more pulsars in use position, I feel like. I feel like they do a crazy amount of damage and they're pretty tanky, but these Spitfires are just so fast, man. And we have a unit that we haven't seen yet. We have the Equalizer, which has like these little rockets. So they do a decent amount of DPS, but the issue is they're a bit slow. And taking a look at the resources lost, it's 4,000 resources lost to 2,800 resources lost in favor of our red Genotron player. So you losing out on a few of those engagements right there wasn't too ideal losing those pariahs that early, but we have a lot of pariahs here as well, able to flank this Genotron army, and now Kop is stuck. He has to kite around the Citadel. Great engagement right here for you, able to take out those Spitfires. The Spitfires are fast, but they're a lot squishier than the Blitzers. I would honestly go for the Blitzers. We've seen how good they are in this series. It does look like Kop is trying to change things up a bit, though. He doesn't want to be too predictable, which I get. But at the same time, the Blitzers, though, you know, they're just so good. This is starting to look like a pretty scary army for you. Taking a look at the upgrades, 1-1 to no upgrades except for that running upgrade, and I think this is a pariah upgrade. But no attack upgrades for the Chiron player just yet. These pariahs doing a good job at surrounding these Spitfires, but no. The Spitfires doing a little bit too much damage to those pariahs. We have a good snipe on that Insider right there. And you, I think, overextending just a little bit. We also have what is going to be, oh my god. Oh my god. We have 8 kills on this Spitfire and 6 kills on this Spitfire. It looks like 19 workers killed. I didn't even notice this, and neither did you, evidently. We had a push out of Spitfires during that engagement, and they took out a ton of the economy for the teal Chiron player. Now you really has to make sure he protects the rest of his converters if he wants to stay in this game. We have quite a lot of expansions as well for our red Genotron player. 4 expansions to 4 expansions still, and we have a 5th base that is down, but not necessarily mining just yet. So taking a look at the workers, even though 19 workers were killed, or 21 workers in this case were killed, it's still relatively even. It's 70 workers to 68 workers. So that extra base for you, able to keep him in this game. I think we have a few more fabricators coming down. This is going to allow some higher tier units to build for our red Genotron player. Here we go, another big engagement, but these Volts, man, I don't think they stand much of a chance against these Spitfires. The Spitfires are just too fast, and they have I feel like way more DPS than the Volts. So I think these units are a bit more cost effective. We have some fuses right here, not able to fuse onto anything though, and here we go. Oh man, look at the DPS. This is only a handful of Spitfires, and look at how fast the Citadel's going down. A lot of workers go down. The Citadel goes down. We also have another push out of Spitfires right here into the 4th base location. We have some nullifiers, but I think they're gonna go down. These Spitfires on the left-hand side of the map do get cleaned up, but we have a lot of Spitfires here as well. Oh no, 40 workers killed by KOP right now. 44 workers killed, and I think the Citadel may go down as well. You in a really tough position right here. He's on his back foot. It really looks like KOP has control of this game. We have the Achilles. They are a super cool unit. They attack both ground and air, and they have an ability, I think it's called Overcharge, which is basically stim without the life loss. So a really good ability right there. They also have a stun grenade, which is really good. And it has a radius that's about as big as this ball of Volts right here, just a little bit smaller. So a lot of these Volts could get stunned. I think that stun lasts about 4 seconds. So you has to be really careful right here not to get stunned, or else all these units are going to go down. Oh man, taking a look at the workers though, it is going to be 57 workers to 74, so a bit of a lead for our red Genotron player. We also have the Teslas. So the Teslas are interesting. They have this ability right here. They throw down a cloak field, and they throw down an AoE field. So, really cool utility unit. I really like the cloak field because if there's no detection and you have this army, the cloak field is about this big. It's about that big. So you can cloak a decent amount of your units. I wonder if we're actually going to see that. We have another push at the 4th base location of the Chiron player. Yu is not about to let this go without a fight, though. We have these AoE orbs right here, dealing a decent amount of damage, and they last until this energy is gone. So, really cool ability. I'd love to see the cloak ability as well right here, since he's next to the Citadel. But I guess KOP decides that he doesn't need it because he has a pretty big army right here. Yu doing his best to stay in the game. This is still anybody's game, but looking at KOP's side of the map, man, he has pretty good map control, I want to say. He's got a lot of bases that are well established. He's keeping you back home, preventing you from doing any sort of harassment on his side of the map, and also potentially able to snipe this 5th base as well. Right now, the 4th base, it does go down. You getting to the party just a little bit too late. These, it looks like these Spitfires actually deciding to engage. I would have run away, but maybe he's using them to buy time because he wants to do a multi-pronged attack, which I think is what he's trying to do right here. Man, what a crazy game. This is action-packed. These nullifiers doing a good job at trying to defend this base, but driving right into the natural base location of the teal player, and now you again, once again, on his back foot. These Teslas doing a good job at shutting down this part of the map right here, making sure that that the Chiron player does not get any good engagements. Man, these are crazy. The utility on the Teslas is insane, to be honest. And here we go. This is a pretty rough push out right here. We have what is going to be a Genotron army in the main base of the Chiron. He has the ability to destroy so much tech for you right here. You doing his best to stay in the game. We do have the Myriads, which do a ton of DPS. Oh my god. Is you able to clean this up right now? We have what is also going to be, I think, Spitfires right here chilling in the 4th base location, but there's no base to kill. And oh no, these Achilles will be able to take out these converters. So many workers go down. Taking a look at the workers killed, 88 workers killed in this game. That is so many workers, bro. You doing a great job trying to stay in this game, but we have what is going to be, I think, a reinforcement of Spitfires right here. You throwing out the GG, leaving the game, giving the best of 7 victory, the best of 7 series to Kop, our Korean Grandmaster player. What a wild series. And Kop, being a former professional Korean StarCraft 2 player, this is not an opponent to laugh at, man. This is really crazy opponent to go up against, and these games were so sick. Very cool. Thank you for sending me this best of 7 series. I'm sorry I could not get to it sooner. If you guys enjoyed what you saw, please consider shooting me a like and subscribe. I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you want me to cast any of your own games, I will leave my email in the description below, and I'll see you guys on the next one.